Welcome to Channel 17, the Town of Colonie Government Channel.
Hello and welcome to Focus on Health. I'm your host, Peggy Mello. Today's guests are Margaret Roberts and Joan Sheehan, co-founders of the Capital Region Action Against Breast Cancer. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Margaret, let's start with you. Do you want to talk about the acronym CRAAB?
Yes, it stands for Capital Region Action Against Breast Cancer. There's an extra A for action. And it actually was chosen because of cancer, the crab. And the word cancer is Latin and it means crab. And actually the Greek name for crab is carcinoma, which refers to carcinoma.
Oh.
And so that also connotes the idea of cancer care. But it also, in representing a crab is an animal that, or actually a crustacean, that moves very quickly, is sensitive to one's surroundings, and we feel as CRAAB members that we move quickly, we react to news about breast cancer, we move quickly to provide services for breast cancer survivors. So there's a lot of symbolism and history to the name.
And can you tell me about the history of the organization? When did you start it and why did you start it?
Well, CRAAB was founded in 1997 by a group of concerned women in the Capital Region who thought that there were high incidence rates of cancer in the Capital Region. And we felt the need for greater education about cancer. We felt there was a need for more support services to help people through their medical treatments. So there was a first meeting that was convened by the late Dr. Patricia Brown, who was a professor of biology at Siena College and a breast cancer survivor, and Dr. Bonnie Spanier, who's a professor of women's studies at SUNY. They were colleagues in science, and they called a first meeting of people who were concerned about cancer care issues, and that was the start of CRAAB. We didn't get our name until much later, but we started monthly meetings at that time. That was in, I think, the spring of 1997?
Right.
Or the fall. In any case, we went on to have monthly board meetings. We set up a board. We had monthly educational programs. And our first speaker was Dr. Sandra Steingraber, who is an oncologist who wrote a groundbreaking book called Living Downstream, An Ecologist Looks at Cancer and the Environment. And we have co-sponsored talks by Dr. Steingraber since then, and we hope to do so again. But from those meetings, we actually came up with some plans to have monthly education programs and also to provide services in the Capital Region that really fill in the gaps, because there are some services that were available in other parts of the country or in other parts of New York State which weren't available in the Capital Region. So we felt it important to also have a voice for cancer survivors in forming public policy to improve health care for all. So we also became very involved with advocacy at the state level and at the local level.
So now, up to this, now you're in 2007. How many members do you have? And they're not just breast cancer survivors, right? They're also clinicians,
yes,
etc.
I think we have about
2,000
members, and a few more people on our mailing list. But our members do include cancer survivors, caregivers, family members.
and concerned citizens that are really looking into the environmental factors of cancer. And I think that's one of the things that we like to point out. As a 501c3 organization, we could set our own agenda, and that's why we really formed this organization, so that we did not have to have ties to national organizations. We can join national organizations at any time, which we do, but we have our own agenda that we like to follow too.
So you've mentioned advocacy. Now there's also education as well, and support services that you also do. Joan, do you want to talk about fundraising efforts? How do you actually make money?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing that we have to do. As a grassroots not-for-profit organization, we need to raise funds to carry out the programs that we want to provide for breast cancer survivors and their caregivers. So we have had raffles. We had a terrific canoe that was donated to us by Peter Hornbeck of Hornbeck Boats, and this was so well received. We raised well over $5,000 on just that raffle. And currently, Northeast Fine Jewelry has donated a 5K pink tourmaline stone to us. It's a gorgeous stone surrounded by diamonds on a pendant.
5 carat is big.
It's big, but it's beautiful, and it just hangs nicely around someone's neck. So that will be drawn in October in the store by Ed Louis Advertising Associates. So we don't have any hand in, who was the one that wins this stone. So we also have challenge grants. We're very, very lucky to have members who have offered a large sum of money, and so we invite our members and the community to donate money to match that challenge grant, which we've been able to do. We also sell silk scarves that you see here on the table, and they will be available soon on our website. They will sell for $30 plus shipping.
Including shipping.
Including shipping, thank you. We debated that, so it will include shipping. And these scarves were done through Margaret's organization called Pen and Palette, which was an organization of arts and how arts can help in the healing process. So we'll do that, and
They're from Italy, right?
They were
printed in Italy.
Printed in
Colonie, Italy,
Right.
kind of the silk scarf capital of the world.
And we also work very closely with Siena College women's basketball team, with Gina Castelli, and the girls on her team year after year have been very supportive. Along this past year with Lori Todd from the Mousetrap restaurant, we had a spaghetti dinner, which the girls served the spaghetti. Well over 200 people came to that. It was, amazing to
How
see
did they
these.
fit 200 people in a
Well,
Mousetrap?
it was they came in. We said they ate, and
Right.
then they rotated out. So we were able to do that, and we're in the works again right now, planning the event, the Siena College event, and a fundraiser with the Mousetrap. So they're just a few of the things that we've done. And I forgot about the tennis. We had a tennis tournament this summer. That was our first tournament, and that was very well received. It was fun. It was a really hot day. It was at the Albany Tennis Club, but I think we raised close to $1,000.
So most of these
out
events
tennis.
you're trying to make annual, right?
We're trying, yes.
Okay. So you're going to have to get on to Northeastern Fine Jewelry. and talk to them.
Right.
And you better
Yes.
donate
And
something
something.
else next year.
That would be wonderful.
Okay, Margaret, let's talk about advocacy.
Yes, that is one of the main focuses of CRAAB, and in 1998, CRAAB initiated the formation of the New York State Breast Cancer Network. We brought members of about 20 other breast cancer organizations from around the state to our first meeting, which was held at Siena College.
That's great.
And we decided to form a network and become a 501c4 organization, which would allow us to do legislative education programs and visit our legislators and actually do lobbying. So since 1999, a year later, every year we've had an annual breast cancer advocacy day at the state capitol, and we form a legislative agenda with about 3 to 5 bills that we actively promote, and we visit our legislators and try to educate them about issues related to breast cancer care. And up this year the Advocacy Day will be April 8th, and I think our theme this year is access to care. So we usually promote or support bills that deal with environmental cleanup and trying to eliminate carcinogens from our environment. And we also promote bills that improve access to care for everyone in New York. So that's one of our main advocacy focus during the year.
So access to care, is that only, do you mean rural areas, or do you mean?
Well, so people who live in rural areas and urban areas can get good, high-quality care. And there's also a disparity in care between different ethnic groups around the state and different geographical areas, because there aren't that many medical facilities in rural areas. So there's a variety of issues, and of course we'd like to see health insurance, health care available to all New Yorkers.
Right.
That's a big issue.
So tell me about the Health Research Science Board.
One of our bills that we've promoted, which we had great success with this past year because it passed and the governor signed it, we advocated to have breast cancer activists on the Health Research Science Board. That board is appointed by the governor and the legislators. It's a group of 11 scientists, and as in other states, we wanted to have activists, breast cancer survivors, sit on the board as voting members. What this board does is it determines how the money that is collected from the tax return checkoff for breast cancer research
So at
in
the
New
very
York
end
State.
it says, do you want to donate money to breast cancer research?
Yes.
Check yes or no.
Yes,
Okay.
and that money that's collected from the tax forms goes to the Health Research Science Board, and they determine through grants how that money is allocated for research projects and for education projects. And we felt that breast cancer survivors can add a lot to directing those funds to good research programs throughout the state. So that bill passed, and we're very happy about that. And it had the full support of the scientists on the board as well.
So it's not just breast cancer research, right? Is it research across the board?
It's primarily breast cancer research. And the board also is charged with maintaining the pesticide registry throughout New York State and keeping data on how pesticide use throughout New York State. And also allocating funds for breast cancer research and education.
Okay, Joan, the Healthy Women's Partnership. Can you talk about that?
Yes. Every county in New York State has a Healthy Women's Partnership, which is now evolving into a Healthy Living Partnership, because it's going to not only encompass getting screening for women for breast cancer, but it's colorectal screening now also. So it can't say women. So everyone is changing their name to the Healthy Living Partnership. In Albany and Rensselaer have combined together, so those counties work together, and I sit on that board. And the important thing to get out is that this organization helps the uninsured and the underinsured to get proper treatment for breast cancer. It used to be that you just got screened, and okay, so you're screened and you find out that you have breast cancer. What do you do if you're uninsured? Well, now through these partnerships, doctors sign on that are surgeons and oncologists, so that women in New York State who are underinsured or have no insurance will be properly taken care of. And so as a board member, we are able to disperse our information too. So it's a way of networking for everyone. You get your information out about your organization, and you find out about the needs of the community too. So, but it's important to know that every county does this, because this is probably a well-kept secret, it seems. It's, we have this kind of service, but we don't have the money to advertise for the service. So getting the word out is important. So we're at health fairs and places like that to let women know, and colleges, etc. So
Now, you're also involved with the American Cancer Society Community of Solutions. Do you want to talk about that?
this was something that the American Cancer Society saw as a need to bring the diverse groups throughout this region together. There are 2 of them right now under this ACS in our area. There's the Albany Community of Solutions, and then there is the Adirondack Northern Community of Solution that meets at Glens Falls Hospital. So it's just a way of bringing people together to let them know what's happening in your organization and to try to prevent duplication and to share the things that you do. So it's been very beneficial for all of the people who sit on those boards. So it's a great opportunity. It's just another way, to network also, to get out
Right.
your information.
Networking is essential.
It is. It really
Okay.
is, especially for not-for-profits.
Mhm. Okay, Margaret, you have some wonderful education opportunities that you guys offer. Do you want to talk about those?
We do. We usually offer about 4 education programs a year that are based on environmental links to cancer. And we have one that's upcoming that we're doing in collaboration with Gilda's Club in the Capital Region, and that's in Latham. And it's on November 7th, and it's going to be on safe cosmetics. And the title of the program is Beautiful and Safe Healthy Cosmetics. And we've had other education programs that deal with gene-environmental interaction, how the environment and chemicals and substances in our environment affect our genetic makeup and actually alter gene expression and gene structure, which can lead to greater susceptibility to cancer. We have also shown films about cancer in the environment, and usually they touch on various topics related to environmental carcinogens. Because I think another main focus for CRAAB, and very few other groups in our area concentrate on this, is trying to prevent cancer from happening in the first place.
Right.
And since there are environmental causes or promoters of cancer, we want to educate the general public about those and ways to reduce one's risk of getting cancer in the first place.
So you gave me some numbers. 11% of more than 10,000 ingredients in personal care products have not been tested. No, have been tested. So
Only 11%
have not been tested.
89% have not been tested for their effects on human health. And they haven't been tested individually, but also is of concern is how they mix together in our systems. They have never been tested.
Right.
And I believe of the 80 to 90,000 chemicals that are in our marketplace today, not just in cosmetics, but in other areas, foods, agriculture, they've never been tested for effects on our health, or a high percentage of those chemicals as well that are out there in the environment. And there has been research that strongly suggests that some of these chemicals are harmful to our health.
Now, how can estrogen content in a product affect a woman?
Well, one of the greatest risk factors for breast cancer is a woman's lifetime exposure to estrogen. So the theory is the more that you're exposed to estrogen over your lifetime, the greater your chances of possibly getting cancer. And that's why women who have not had children, women who have early periods, women who go into menopause later have greater estrogen throughout their lifetime, and they are at higher risk of getting breast cancer. Now, there are some chemicals in our environment that mimic estrogen, and they're called endocrine disruptors.
Oh.
And they mimic estrogen in our systems, and some of those are pesticides, and some of them are chemicals found in cosmetics or home personal care products.
So where do you find pesticides? Is it, I mean, are you concerned about vegetables and fruits that we get, or is it what people put on their grass, or what exactly is it?
Actually, both. And in fact, there are some studies that have linked agricultural use of pesticides to higher rates of cancer, and actually cancer in men as well as women. Women who are from families of pesticide workers and who apply pesticides but do not use protective gear when applying pesticides actually have higher rates of breast cancer. So it's agricultural pesticides on our foods that are a concern. Certain particular pesticides, not all of them, but also pesticides used in the house. There's a study that just came out from the Silent Spring Institute in Massachusetts, and this study was funded by the American Cancer Society and the Susan G. Komen Foundation. But there was a study that showed that women who reported higher use of pesticides in their home have higher rates of breast cancer.
And where are the phthalates and parabens?
Phthalates.
I'm so impressed that I could say that.
Really? Very good. Phthalates and parabens are found in a lot of personal care products, not just cosmetics, but in certain shampoos, conditioners. They're also found in some dental sealants and other home care products. Parabens have a weak estrogenic effect, but there is some concern about parabens. They have been shown to be in breast tumor tissue, high levels of parabens, but the actual research has shown just a weak link, estrogenic link. Phthalates, on the other hand, there is research to suggest that they are harmful. And a lot of these chemicals are suspect in harming, let's say, the fetus, or when women are pregnant, they should refrain from using some of these products because the chemicals can actually alter or change one's genetic structure during human development.
So
in vivo.
Someone's exposed to a chemical and it goes into their body. Does it ever leave, or does it just stay in their body for the rest of their lives?
Some accumulate in the body and some leave. I don't know exactly which ones, but we do carry a body burden of chemicals throughout our lifetime. And for instance, the Environmental Working Group and the Mount Sinai School of Medicine in New York did a study of 9 individuals, and they found adults, and they found that there were an average of about 116 chemicals in their system, and that's the body burden of chemicals.
Carcinogens?
And about 76 of those chemicals were linked to cancer, were carcinogenic.
Wow.
So there's also been studies done on the fetal, now I'm blanking on it, but on cord blood, umbilical cord blood of babies, and they have found a really high number of carcinogenic chemicals that are in that cord blood.
Oh boy.
So these chemicals are going into babies.
So that's biomonitoring, right? How does one do
Biomonitoring.
that?
Well, it's a complex, a very expensive process, but it's when they take tissue samples, usually of men or women's hair, nails, blood, urine, and breast milk, and they can tell what chemicals are in a person's system. And In fact, one of the bills that, again, the New York State Breast Cancer Network is advocating for is a biomonitoring and health tracking bill, so that there will be some type of health tracking system to share data about chemicals that are in the environment and chemicals in our systems, so we can keep better track of disease and what chemicals might then make one more susceptible to disease.
There's one other number I wanted to mention, which was 100,000 synthetic chemicals that are being used in the United States, and more than 90% have not been tested.
That's true. Or some have been tested, but they've been tested by review boards which are set up by the industry themselves. And so it's not peer reviewed. They don't go through a rigorous, well, this might be controversial, but according to many activists, they don't go through a rigorous enough testing system before they are put on the market. And we've seen the case with similar drugs that are put on the market before they're tested fully. And so people suffer certain side effects.
So we really advocate for a precautionary principle, which is first do no harm, if that's at all possible. But that's really what we would like to see happen.
Okay, Joan, do you want to talk about the Nutrition Tips for Tops program?
As part of a grant that we received from the Susan G. Komen Foundation, we included in that grant a component where we would go to area local TOPS chapters, which stands for Take Off Pounds Sensibly, which is a weight loss support group. And they're there for the reason that they want to lose weight. And one of the things that we try to include in a program that we call Healthy Behaviors and Breast Cancer Risk for all women is that we want to include information about diet and exercise, because these are components that can reduce your risk. We're not saying that you may not get, we don't know who's going to get breast cancer, but there are things that one can do to reduce risk. And so we have a nutritionist that comes with me, and we travel to these chapter meetings that are all over this area, and we provide information about diet and exercise, which are components of what their program is too, but it reiterates to them the importance of doing those things, because for your own health you're reducing your risk for breast cancer. So we provide and that along with a breast cancer awareness program at Siena College. We do fundraising there, but we also have breast cancer awareness where we are there to answer questions. We have several brochures of interest to younger women so that we can get to them concerning the cosmetics issue also. We want to bring that out.
And then you also have your plethora of brochures and your newsletter as well.
Right. Our newsletter is an excellent tool for providing education. It tells about our organization. We include articles that we call something called recent research, where we have a graduate student that trolls through all the available information and comes up with things that are vitally important that researchers are doing today, so that it can be informative. We also have an environmental section where we bring out all the news that is current about the environmental news as it relates to breast cancer. And we have human interest too, because we do a profile of a cancer survivor and how that person is coping with a new change in their life. And besides that, we offer life coaching, which we do at Gilda's Club also.
Which I think is really important that people know is available.
Right, especially knowing that your life has changed once you have breast cancer. And how are you going to cope with that? Are there things in your life that you want to change? Something about your job or something about yourself? Dr. Patricia Ford leads this group. She is herself a breast cancer survivor. So she brings a wealth of knowledge, both medically, socially, and psychologically to this group. So people who are interested in that can just call us, and She does it in different group sessions of 5 workshops each. So, and they're held at Gilda's Club, and anybody who calls us, we can hook them up with the right dates for them.
Great. Okay, lastly, we want to talk about the free support services that CRAAB offers. Margaret?
Well, in addition to life coaching, we also have free medical massage in your own home. So we have a massage therapist, Mary Beth Haleko, who will travel to a breast cancer survivor's home and provide medical massage. We have the Lebed method movement and dance therapy classes for women who are recently out of treatment or in treatment, and those classes are held at Gilda's Club. That's very good for people with lymphedema. We have Prepare for Surgery, Heal Faster. It's also Prepare for Surgery, Chemotherapy, and Radiation, Heal Faster. And these are either one-on-one or group workshops to help people cope and learn relaxation techniques before they have those procedures.
I just think there's a big emotional factor when it comes to, approaching that.
I think it is, and a lot of people get, of course, very anxious about it, but there are techniques that you can do to relax and focus your energy, and
and last is yoga and Pilates.
We introduced Gentle Pilates just this year in Clifton Park at Fit for Life Wellness Center. That class filled up pretty quickly. That's a new offering. And then we have yoga and meditation also at Fit for Life in Clifton Park and at the Yoga Loft in Albany.
Okay.
And those are led by Mary Sloan, a fabulous yoga instructor. So we have quite a few support services that all are free of charge, and some of the services are also available to to the caregivers as well as the survivors.
Okay. Now, we have a few books we want to mention. Joan?
Okay. Thriving After Breast Cancer is a book, and the tape that goes with this is part of the Lebed program.
Okay.
And as a breast cancer survivor myself, I am enrolled in this program because one of the things that can happen after breast cancer is you get a condition known as lymphedema. And this is great for that program. So, and then the Prepare for Surgery, Heal Faster also comes with a tape. And
the book.
And the book. I used this, it was too late for my surgery, but I used this when I had to have knee surgery. Excellent. Really, really terrific.
It's more of a psychological
yes,
approach.
Yes, it is.
To,
and it makes you really, really relax. And the suggestions that are offered in this book, when you come out of your anesthesia, you're not sick, which really was a major plus for me.
Right. And lastly is the Otherwise Healthy by Linda Schrager. Linda Schrager has her weekly column, which is syndicated across the United States. It's in the Times-Union every Tuesday. Anybody want to talk about the content of that?
Well, the content of that book, I think if you read just the rest of the title, Organizing Life After Being Diagnosed with Breast Cancer, that's exactly what it does. There are sections in that book that just bring about every facet of your diagnosis to treatment to aftercare, so that anyone who is participating in helping you knows exactly who your doctors are, what their phone numbers are, places to go, children to take care of. It's all in one location. And what's nice about that book is that it's compact, it's small, you can carry it with you. Because I've seen others, but they're huge books, and just toting them around is too difficult. So this puts everything you need right in that book.
And we have these books available for people free of charge through the CRAAB office. And also I want to say Linda Schrager will be our keynote speaker at our annual Survivor Caregiver Banquet, which will be October 11th at the Italian American Community Center in Albany. And that is free for breast cancer survivors and one of their primary caregivers. And that's a really fun night. We have raffles. We present a Community Caregiver Award, which this year is going to Judith Enck, who's Deputy Secretary for the Environment under Governor Spitzer. and we have free dinner, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Great. So lastly, let's talk about the how to contact CRAAB. You have a website, www.craab.org.
Yes, 2 A's.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the email address, CRAAB at,
NICAP.rr.com.
okay, and the telephone number?
Telephone number is 435-1055.
Okay. Great. Well, thank you very much for coming in. Good luck with all of your advocacy efforts and education efforts. You guys do a wonderful thing for our community.
Thank you, Peggy.
Thank you,
It's
Peggy.
great to be here.
Thanks for watching. We hope to see you next time on Focus on Health.
Welcome to Channel 17, the Town of Colonie Government Channel.